ready to move forward at that today.
Absolutely. A lot of people, in my opinion, should not be wholesaling.
And this goes back to just being a quality fucking person, doing quality business, guys. Just be a good person.
Exactly.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of The Deal Room. I'm here with my partner, Eva. How you doing, Eva?
Good, you?
I'm doing good. Hey, my name's Matt Walton. You know, we're getting ourselves some guests on here, some really great ones, people we know in the industry and people who are doing really great things. One of those guests are here today with us, John Galan. How you doing, man?
Doing great, man. Working deals as always. Never
As
stops.
always, as we do.
That's it. Doesn't stop.
Awesome, man. So we know you. Me and Eva know you pretty well. Your story and how you go, but just to give everyone a background of you, because I told you this right before the podcast, is I love the story of how you got into this. I love the story about what you pushed through to get to where you are now. So can you give us that background real quick?
Yeah. So I started off, I was a CPA and I basically hated my life because I had, the first 4 months of every year was tax season and it was just miserable. And then from doing like tax returns and everything, I saw like a lot of like the high net worth individuals returns I was doing. They weren't paying taxes and they all had something in common, which was real estate. So I was like, all right, cool, let me get into real estate. So I did like the 3 years of just consuming knowledge, never really making any calls or taking action or comping homes. One day I was just on my couch and I saw how many hours I put into a video game. And I was like, holy shit, that's like if I played for 7 days in a row, 24/7, like without stopping. That's how much of my life went into this game. I was like, why am I doing this to myself? It's not going to change anything. So then I decided, all right, let me just start actually moving and found wholesaling randomly. Didn't even plan to do it at all. It was actually something I said I wouldn't do. And then, I don't know, I just had a really strong gut feeling to get into it. So I started wholesaling and oh, shit. Hold on, wait. I got a seller calling me.
Press any key to connect the call.
Hey, Tammy.
Hey, I'm sorry. What's going on?
Yeah, nothing. I just wanted to give you a quick call. So I did hear back from the underwriters. Let me just pull up the notes. So they did, just want to say congratulations. So they did approve the offer. They approved to buy it as is, as you wanted. They approved to close in 30 days or less. There's absolutely no commissions taken out. This is all going to be net to you. And all of the closing costs are covered by us. All right. And so we're going to be able to help you get this property sold so you don't have to deal with the headache or worry about squatters or anything like that.
And what did they approve it at?
So based on the comparables they were seeing and the market conditions, the offer they approved was in the range of 160 to 170.
No.
Okay. You're still looking for that 200K mark?
Yeah.
Okay. And are you going to, if you talk to other companies and they come in around the same price, how are you going to decide who to go with at that point?
I'm not going to agree to that price. I will go to plan B, and I don't know what that is yet, but I'm not going to give.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
I completely understand. And I wouldn't want to give my home away either. But this is just where they said they were at.
And I appreciate, as I said, all of your hard work and tenacity. I appreciate it. But yeah, no, that's not going to work.
And I mean, I could try to go back and see if there's anything we could do to come up. But before I do that, let me ask you, 200K, that's the best you could do, right? So I could let my team know?
Yes.
Okay. And if they came up to 200K, then you're ready to move forward at that today.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So if they could do 200K, but it would be a longer closing time, is that something you're in? So it's 200K and 30-day close or nothing else?
That's it.
Okay. I'll go back and talk to them. I don't know if we'll be able to come up, but if anything, I'll let you know just as I always do.
I appreciate it.
Yes, my pleasure.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
All right, take care. Yeah, this seller, PPC lead, she came in, she tried listing it. She wanted 275. So you heard what I offered. And she doesn't want anything less than 200,000. But we'll see. It's a follow-up. So I'm trying to think, like, I'm looking at like what I could have done differently. Like, what would you have done in that situation after
No, I
This
mean,
is-
I think I was thinking about that too when you were asking the questions. I was like, yeah, I mean, you got to do what you got to do. I mean, it comes from a follow up in there, and you have two choices in sales. Obviously, you can try and beat someone down to try and get them to convince them to go with your offer. But I think if you have to convince like that, it's not going to work out in the long run. If you
Yeah.
really have to push it. I mean, there's you asked the questions, you asked about coming up, you asked about what we can do to kind of make it work. If you put it on like your team and not necessarily you, so you guys kept the relationship together. She appreciates you and how you are, and you can say, hey, the team gave this offer, it wasn't me. This is what they came up with. But what can I do to help you out and get that going? I don't know. The only other thing I would
Fuck, you
say
know
is
what I should have done? I can't do it now because it's too late, but she said she doesn't know what plan B is. I should have just went more deeper into plan B. Like,
Yeah, I was
all right,
gonna say,
well,
what's
let's
your
just talk
plan?
about this. Like, let's just say all these offers come back in below that price because I know you said you were going to talk to other companies, but they all come in around that same price and you won't take that. Like, let's try to discuss like what other options do you have? Because like, how long are you trying to leave it, sitting vacant and having to worry about those squatters? How long are you going to do that for?
Is that her only pain point? Is that she's got squatters, or what's her
No squatters. It was vacant property. She moved out 7 months ago, and so she doesn't want to pay for 2 utility bills. And she also is stressed about potential squatters and people going into the house. She was under contract with another investor who tried to novate it, but they tried to do it way too high. And they also had a shitty agent that never even went to the house. And so she was a little bit jaded from investors, but at least we were able to build somewhat of a relationship. But I do think this is going to be more of a follow-up.
yeah. Well, we can take this out definitely, but I like that fact that you said, all right, what can I have done different? Then you thought of something to do different, and then next time you have that call, you will. And
I
so,
should have I should have
yeah,
went more deeper on plan B.
well, hey, that's how we learn. We make
Let
our
me
mistakes,
just
we reflect, and then we roll forward.
decline the offer.
You all just learned that right here, right
Yeah,
now. We're all like,
hey, we're all learning. I haven't
exactly.
done a PPC ads either. We're talking about it, so there you go.
So yeah, so
How
you
is
guys
that working, by the
started
way?
PPC?
We just started doing PPC. We got one contract so far, but it's the seller had bought it from an auction, so we're waiting for the deed to get transferred into their name, and
Okay.
we've been waiting for like 2 weeks. So we'll see. It's a deal in Ohio. We got it at 25K. We're gonna try to sell it at like 40, 50K. Probably needs like 100 and something thousand in rehab. But
Do
yeah,
you
I
guys
have
do it nationwide or just in the states that you're in?
15. We're in 15 states for PPC, but not just the whole state, like different geolocations in those 15 areas.
What's your cost per lead?
Right now, let me see. This lady, I'm definitely following up with. I'll probably follow up with her next week. Try to one cold close them all, but I'm better at talking to agents than I am talking to sellers.
Yeah,
Mostly because I don't have the patience.
Yeah.
me
It's funny
too.
because we just did a podcast with Tim Yu, and he was like, I cannot stand talking to agents. I'll talk to sellers all day long, but I hate talking to agents. And I was like,
We
yeah,
were
I
the
get both sides.
opposite. We were like, oh, we love to talk to agents. I mean, yeah, you have to kind of bulldog them back.
$202 is a cost per lead.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, we're talking about that. Yeah, what company are you using for that? If you don't mind me asking.
My buddy Joe, SM3 Marketing. Yeah. So
It's life entrepreneur right there. You got to work. Yeah, you got to get stuff done.
okay. What was the question? Oh yeah, my friend Joe, he has a ad company called SM3 Marketing, and that's who we're using right now. And right now, I mean, it's been great. I think we're averaging at least a lead a day, and it's our first month.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
keep a little bit to build up.
So
It's been what, a full 30 days of you running it?
20 days.
Okay, yeah, you're right at the beginning because it takes at least 10 days for them to usually pick up.
Yep. So we've been doing it for 20 days. We've gotten one contract, and about like 28, 29 leads.
Okay. How
That's
are you?
really-
What's the flow look
Well,
like?
gross leads, net leads, I would say is probably like 9 or 10. So one out of every 10 right now turns into a contract.
What's the flow from lead to when a lead comes in? What happens after that with your team?
Lead comes in, I get a text message from the CRM, new PPC lead, and then we call it within 5 minutes. And you just call them up, and we'll send an automated text that says somebody from our team will reach out, and then we reach out and give it the introduction. And then it's more following a script. Like you have to more follow a process with sellers than with agents. So I'm kind of learning that. That was probably my like 8th seller call.
Yeah.
Like my life of
Yeah.
somebody that actually answered me.
Yeah.
And then to tell me to go fuck off in the beginning 30 seconds. So new thing. That's the thing with this too. You got to learn the process, got to learn the objections and how to handle. Because there was definitely a lot more I could have done on that call. I don't think she was ready to sell below 200 yet. She's going to go reach out to other companies, and yeah.
But I
That's
think that
smart.
what I
I
like
like
about this a
that.
lot, and me and Eva talk about this, is what you're doing, even though you run a successful business, is you're going through the shit yourself.
Yeah,
And then you're
you're
going to find
learning.
out how to do it. And then you're going to be able to coach people better on how to do it because you've gone through it yourself. Now, when situations come up, you're like, all right, this is what I do to have success, and this is how you show it. Instead of saying like, all right, you do this, and then I'll just sit back and let you run my business for me.
Yep. So I'm gonna probably shoot her a text after this and just let her know I'm gonna check back in with her next week. Because what I wish I did differently on that call was dove deeper in the plan B, like I said, and then after that I would be like, all right, well, right now this is where they're at. Unless you want to do, some of the updating inside the house, they could definitely offer more if you do. But if you don't want to do any of that, then right now this is all they've authorized me to spend. So what I could do is I could check back in, go reach out to other companies, go see what other options there are, right? To see if there's anything that, is better than us. Obviously, I want you to make best decision for you and your situation. And by next week, I could check in, just kind of see where you're at. And again, if I'm not the right option, I could at least try to help you out and brainstorm some other ideas.
Perfect.
That's how I should have ended the call.
Well,
I think you should definitely watch Tim's episode because he's doing cold emailing direct to seller, and he has some really good golden nuggets in that episode where he talks about what he's doing, like especially with just like a lead. What is it called? A
counting
lead.
record leads.
No, it's like
Motivator?
a
Hot
lead magnet.
Lead magnet, yeah.
Yeah, and he's providing them like information on what their next steps are. Have you done this? Have you done this? Have you done this? Like he has like a little checklist for each person.
I like that, yeah.
He goes on a consultative approach and is like, all right, you're in this situation here. Here are your options, and this is how I can help you through these options. If any of these options work, we have other options where I can, have a cash buyer come in and take it, or and then he starts to pitch of how he can take it. But first, he comes with like, let me help you out. Here's the options in your situation that you have, and then mark it from there.
He dropped a lot of good stuff yesterday on that.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, that's definitely a call I'm going to dissect myself after this.
Love it. All right, so back into John Galan and where John Galan started. A CPA, stopped being CPA, learned about real estate, jumped into wholesaling.
Yep, jumped into wholesaling and didn't really know what to do. I started in the middle of busy season, so I was juggling both my W-2 job. I had a side tax business, and then I started wholesaling all in January of 2022. And I was basically working from like 4 a.m. until about like 9, 10 o'clock at night every day to juggle all three for 4 months. And I had told myself like I wanted to get my first deal done before busy season ended, because if I could do it right now, then I could do it any day. And that's what happened. I actually got a deal done on April 14th. I assigned it, and on April 15th, EMD was confirmed in. So I had assigned my first deal by the end of tax season.
But before your first deal, how many other deals did you do?
After my first deal or before?
Well, was it after your first deal?
I was going to say, you said before my first deal, how many deals have I done? Zero.
It makes sense, but no. After, then what happened? It was after, right?
That I did all of the other deals.
That you messed. It's like 15 deals that you canceled on.
Yeah, and then after that, once I had done it, I didn't really have any way to replicate what I did because I was kind of all over the place. I was like a nationwide JV wholesaler, which just basically means I don't do any deals. And I was like, I got the deal done. I went to like a real estate event. I got my beard shaved on stage. And then after that, I was like, I don't really know how to do this again. But I was like, all right, I know I'm going to quit my job. So I decided to quit my job and give my boss a 2-month notice. And I didn't have any deals going, nothing going. I tried direct to seller a little bit. I tried keeping doing the JV side, dabbled in direct to agent for a little bit in the New Jersey market. And I got zero traction, no other deals, no other contracts, nothing even close. And that was from April until June 23rd of 2022. And then I was, all right, well, I quit my job and I'm going to go all in direct to agent in MLS outreach in Florida. And then 2 weeks later, I assigned the deal. It was a JV deal. And then I assigned my first contract that I got directly. And then after that, I got 14 or 15 contracts between July and August. And I canceled every single one of those. And there was one day, it was a Friday, I had 3 cancellation calls in a row that I had to go through and cancel on the agent side, no offers. And that was not a good feeling.
No, but I'm sure it helped you. I'm sure you got pretty good at canceling deals.
Dude, I was the best at canceling deals. No doubt in my mind, nobody could cancel a deal as good as I could.
Yeah.
I mean, it made the offer calls that much easier because I wasn't afraid to cancel, because the worst conversation for me was at that point second nature.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been doing that with all my acquisition reps. I make them retrade and I make them cancel. Like I won't come in and save you for those. I'm like, yeah, nope. You got to have these conversations. You got to get used to it.
Sucks.
Because there's an art to retrading. There is too. Like what we do in general is we come from like a, hey, it's just not working out on numbers wise. We're just going to be a lot lower. So I don't want to push you guys onto anything. So we're just going to go ahead and back out on this. And usually like, well, what number do you have to be? And like, oh, well, not to push anything on you, but 15 to 20K lower or whatever. And then usually we can negotiate from there. That's kind of what we do. But I make them go through that process on purpose because, like you said, they have to get used to it. They have to build confidence, and it helps them in making the offers and knowing like, hey, the worst that can happen is I'm just going to cancel this deal. That'll be it. So where you're at now is, maybe you cancel a good amount of deals. I don't know, but you do a lot of deals now.
Yes.
And so where's your company at now monthly, and what are you guys currently doing?
Yeah. So we'll average anywhere from 10 to 12 assignments a month. Around a little over $100,000 a month. And right now what we're doing is the JV model is cool and all, but it's an operational burden and it's very difficult and frustrating to scale because you have so many leads coming in, and you have to be so quick. So you need a team to be able to filter through the leads. You need an underwriting department to be able to underwrite all of those plus your direct deals. And then on top of that, you need dispositions to actually work the deals. And if the spreads are like 5K, 6K, like they're getting like what, $600 commission if it's a 6K deal, and if you're paying 10%. So a lot of the like people we've hired didn't really like the JV model for disposition. So it's harder to keep a dispo, and you got to be quick and negotiate and bring people up because you're versing other people. The JV model's a pain like that. And so right now we're still doing some JVs. We're still like, but we're focusing more on building the direct to agent pipeline. And now we're just got into PPC. And the intention is to get PPC up and running to basically almost replace JV, and obviously do a lot more. And then the direct to agent side, we're just focusing on just one market, and we'll just only JV with a select few wholesalers going there. Like maybe it'll be like the New Western model where it's like, hey, we need exclusivity for X amount of days to be able to work your deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me and Eva talked about this too, because we don't like working with other wholesalers for the most part. Like it's
Oh.
very select. So I know you got to go through a bunch of crap.
I'll tell you what, though, I'm glad I did as much volume as I did, especially with other wholesalers, is because I saw so many problems and issues, and we were able to handle such volume that we were able to come across so many different scenarios. But like the experience we gained from that forced us to know more than we probably would have if we only were doing direct deals. So instead of us doing like maybe we did the same volume, but we only did like 50 deals, we got to like 120 something deals last year, but we've assigned probably about like 130-ish or something. And so 10 that fell through, a lot of learning experiences from dealing with that.
Yeah, so you're going through a lot of stuff with wholesalers. So give us your checklist of how you work with wholesalers. I think that's really important too. A lot of people just want to say they want to JV with people, but there's a list of things you have to do and kind of confirm before you start working with somebody, because there's a lot of people who are taught the wrong way or do things the wrong way, and that can really hurt you and your business and your reputation. So what is your checklist when somebody comes to work with you?
Yeah. So first thing I want to confirm is like, how do they work? Like, do they do highest and best? Is it, net them a number? Are they trying to JV? I got to know that up front. If it's highest and best, I don't care if you're my best friend, I'm not touching your deals. So no highest and best for us. It's either I tell you I can net you a number if we agree to that, and I could net you that, like we're not doing the highest and best after that, or it's 50-50 JV. However, if we give a buy price, then we get a 72-hour exclusivity for that. Usually we don't require exclusivity, only for buy prices. The other thing I want to confirm is like, hey, if I request the redacted PSA before I send out the deal, like send it to me. If you're going to be a little weird about sending that, I'm not going to touch the deal. I've sold countless deals where they were not actually under contract before. And then the wholesaler tried to scramble and go back to the seller and get another contract. So I don't work a deal if I don't see a PSA. That's the first thing. But that's the second thing. And then, that's really the two most important things I look for. And then from there, I see how they work. If somebody's constantly sending me deals, if somebody sends me an email with 12 deals, I'm like, daisy chainer, for sure. That's not their direct deal. Otherwise, you're a huge company, or you're that good at acquisitions, and let me just give you buy prices and use me exclusively. But 9.8% of the time, they're daisy chainers. And then I just put them a daisy chainer label on Gmail, and I don't even see their emails anymore. And then if they're constantly sending me shitty deals, I look for just as much as you look for deal quality, I look for wholesaler quality. If they're always sending me bad deals, I have the conversation with them, explain to them that they're always high, tell them to leverage me for buy prices. But if they keep sending us shit, or they send us every single deal they're talking to for a buy price, they're lower on the totem pole to look at. But I want to find the wholesalers that are ideally newer, they're solo, or they have a very small company, but they're in charge of it. I don't want to work with any bureaucracy. I don't want to work with a Dispo person at a big company unless I'm good friends with the owner and I know they don't do highest and best. I've done some of those deals. That's really what I'm looking for. No highest and best. They will send me the PSA when I need to, and they're easy to work with. Like if they're not communicative, or they're not going to tell me, like if they assigned the deal last night and I ask them a question today and they tell me, oh yeah, by the way, I signed it. Like, bro, just let me know, like communication. So that's what I look for when I work with a wholesaler.
Yeah, so a couple things I want to unpack a little bit about it is, just in case you guys are newer and don't understand this, but highest and best, the reason why we don't do that is because you'll destroy your relationship with your buyers. And I know that John and Helena, they take very good care of their buyer relationships, because that's how they get a lot of the deals done. And so if you're looking for highest and best, you're just trying to do a bidding war, and that's just going to piss everybody off. What he also said about like the contract, redacted contract, please show that you have this under contract, you're legit, and you're not just taking someone else's deal you just saw and throwing it out there trying to get yourself on top, so that you're actually legit and have the contract under that. Because again, you destroy a relationship with buyers that you put it out there, or you just waste your time working on a deal you can't even wholesale. You have no legal right to do that. So those are a couple of things that John talked about, which I think are really important for people to know. because you get a lot of crap with wholesalers. They're just doing things where they're just, they just saw something on Investor Lift and they throw it at a bunch of people pretending like it's their deal. Or they're just trying to do bidding wars and then they're going to just go with their own person anyways after you just screwed your buyer over. So a lot of things are very important about who you're working with. And if you are a wholesaler that's looking to work with a dispo, please, like for the love of God, do it the right way, because your relationship with your dispo is really important. Me and Eva talked about this. I had a guy who pretended to be the buyer on us on a deal. And then as we're assigning it, he says, "Oh, I'm the customer relations manager for this buyer." Immediately, we're like, "This is just bullshit," right? But at this point, like we're out of our inspection period because we kind of worked a bunch of stuff. So we're like, "All right, well, let's just get this done." And the whole time, he just wouldn't admit it. And so then he tells the buyer the wrong things. Like the buyer can use their own title company, which is not something we allow anybody to do. And they can just this buyer start doing whatever they want to. I had to like come to him, and I had to go back and apologize to him because I did not come at him the right way when it first happened. But it was just frustrating going through a lot of crap that could have been avoided if you just told me you were a wholesaler and you had a buyer. I'm 100% cool working with you on that if I need one. So I'm sure you guys go through a lot of that crap too.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to kind of now snuff out who's a legit buyer and who's a wholesaler. Um, you can almost tell within the first 30 seconds, I would say,
Right.
on call now.
And who has the contract too,
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah,
quickly now.
usually there'll be some kind of conversation that's happening with my team, and I'll be like, "So they're a wholesaler," and they're like,
Right.
"They didn't say that," and I'm like, "They're a wholesaler.
Yeah.
Ask them again."
They know
Yep,
right away.
the questions are asking. I'm like, buyers don't ask that question.
Yeah, I'm like, "That's so you're a wholesaler." Okay.
Yep.
All right. Now that we've gotten that out the way, let's keep going.
Yeah. There's a little thing because they do the same things that we do to agents and we do to I mean I don't say we do this to other wholesalers because I'm straight up. I never tell anybody I'm a buyer.
Yeah, I'm a wholesaler.
I'm like, no, I'm gonna wholesale the deal for sure.
Yeah.
But like once they start putting up the little things that like we say to maybe sometimes people say to sellers or you'll sometimes say to agents when they hit you with the same objection, that's how you could tell it's a
Right away.
wholesaler.
Yeah, right away. So with I know that you said when you first did this and you first got your deal done, you were like, "Holy crap, I don't know how to do my next deal." Like I think that was probably a big realization a lot of people have. They can fall into a deal pretty quickly, or they maybe do something and find out how to get one by luck. But then turning it into a business is a whole nother thing. And so, you partnered with a couple people, and then you partnered with Helena and how you guys. But one of the things you talk about a lot is your processes. So tell us how you come up with those processes and why.
Well, I mean, processes and systems and processes is how you scale a company. Like you can't have a flowing company without systems and processes. Otherwise, you're always gonna have to be in the business and almost micromanaging people because they won't know how to do it if you can't document it and explain to them how to do it. So that's why I say systems and processes. In the beginning, it's sales, all sales and marketing, or mostly sales, right? Because you don't have any money, it doesn't matter. Systems don't mean shit, and you're still learning your systems and your process through doing the stuff yourself. So you don't know what works, what doesn't work. You don't know the best way to do things or the worst way to do things until you do it yourself. So in the beginning, it's all learning that. And then once you start having like repeatability and consistency, well, now you probably are starting to find stuff that works and you're definitely doing the same things over and over again. Conversations aside, because you might say things differently, everything's situational in that. But the way you're working, the way you're setting up your follow-ups, the way you're looking for properties, the way you're organizing your CRM, all that stuff you're definitely doing almost sometimes subconsciously in the same way. The schedule you're following, probably the same way, even if you tweak it a little bit. But then you start having repeatability and you're like, all right, now this process is making the company X amount. So I know if somebody came in, even did it like 80% of the way, they should be able to gross this amount. Or at least X amount of contracts or whatever the role you're hiring, this outcome. And so now you have a proven process and then you have to document it through, I would say, both video like Loom or something else and written because you want people like some people like to read more, some people like to listen, some people like to watch. So if you have all three of them, it doesn't matter. And then they have a process that they could follow and learn. And you could now, when you hire and onboard somebody, they have a document to follow. So systems and processes is everything. Without that, you'll just have a bunch of people in the seats that don't know what they're doing. And it's honestly gonna be way more stressful and almost not worth it if you have no systems and processes and you bring on people to your team because it will equal a bunch of problems. And you'll do a lot less deals and make a lot less money.
Yeah, you hand over your business, somebody has no idea what they're doing.
You don't
How
even
big
know what you're doing.
is your team?
The biggest it was at one point was like 21 people. And now we started leaning back. So we have
What are the positions they have right now that you hire for?
3 acquisitions reps for direct to agent. I have
All in one market?
Yep. I have 1 JV associate who's a virtual assistant who, if you work Florida, you've spoken to Manny on my team. I have an admin VA, underwriter slash like integrator systems guy, another underwriting associate, and then 2 more admin VAs.
So what do you expect the people to do? Because me and Eva talked about this the other day, about it's different when me and her get on a phone call than it is from one of our employees. Now you said that a little bit about 80%. Is that what you're expecting? That they're 80% as good as you, then they're good.
Yep, once during the first training up, but eventually they should be better than me if they only do that all day, every day for extended period of time. In the beginning, though, within the first like 90 days, the onboarding period, I want them to be at 80%. As long as they're 80%, then I know the role is pretty much delegated, and the remaining 20% comes from just more reps, more experience, and just more, like I said, reps. Just them doing the job. And if their sole focus is just getting good at sales for direct to agent sales, they should be better than me because I'm not. That's not my sole focus. I'm not doing that every single day. I'm still learning knowledge. I'm still like listening to calls and giving them feedback and all that stuff. But as far as like having the conversation, they should get better than me. At one point, they should be better than me.
So I know that on this, I think like on every podcast, everyone talks a crap ton about acquisitions, like acquisitions, and every YouTube guru is get a property under contract, blah, blah, blah. But I think where you and Helena are like the golden children of the Astro family is your dispo skills. Like you guys have an incredible dispo that I think is kind of like a hidden secret, like a lot of people don't know. And I know when people come to me from the Astro family and they mention you and Helena, I always tell them, well, you guys know that they have like a kick-ass fucking dispo setup, right? Like the reason that they're so successful is not because they got all these contracts, it's because they have quality dispo. Like if you want to be that successful, you need to have quality dispo. So tell me, how did that all like start? Like where did you get your first buyer? How did you come into like really building that list? How do you build that list? How do you talk to them? What is the dispo secrets that no one ever talks about?
Well, I would say if you want the secrets, definitely gonna have to get those from Helena. Before I partnered with her, I was more so focused on acquisitions. I was like thinking, there's really no point in me building a buyers list right now if I don't even know how to get contracts because I'm having pointless conversations. They're not going to remember me. I have nothing to sell them or send them, and I'm just basically wasting my own time calling them. I might as well just lock up deals and leverage a Dispo wholesaler at that point. And I did have a different partner who was more focused on Dispo at the time. So I was like, this is perfect. I'll focus on getting us deals. You focus on selling them. And then, it didn't work out. We both it just didn't work out. And at one point I was working very closely with Helena for about 6 months and sending us our deals directly. And so I was talking to her a lot and we were like to how fast we move, the way we work. And she's just a master at negotiations when it comes to like selling properties, negotiating with buyers. Every time we have a buyer, I'm like, all right, so they're offering 10, like they're offering 210. So you'll probably bring them up to like 225, 230 in like an hour, I'm assuming. Like she'll bring them up like nothing. So as far as like the dispo skills, it all comes back down to sales and negotiation skills. She's just very, very good at that. So dispo, this is what I'm finding for dispo. There's two different dispo. There's direct to seller dispo, where people like, if the deal is so good, it'll sell itself. Yeah, well, when you have 50 cents on the dollar, no fucking shit. But then there's direct to agent and JV dispo, which is you don't have them 50 cents on the dollar. You have them probably like 60 to 70 cents on the dollar. And now you really need to sell before the deal sells itself. This one, you sell the deal, right? So from us doing and it's a different too, like DTS, you could novate, you could also work with other real estate agents. It's off market. You have, again, deeper discount, a lot more things you could do. So it's a different process in the JV and DTA dispo. But with this one, you have to negotiate with these buyers. You have to explain like the good things about the deal and how numbers make sense. It's a different process. So you really have to believe in the deal when you try to sell it. Because what we see is if you have a deal that's a little tight and you think it's tight and it's you're asking too high, you're not going to sell that deal for sure. But if you're like, all right, it's a deal for somebody, I think the numbers make sense, we're going to send it out, and you actively sell the deal, and not passively sell it, actively sell the deal, you'll actually wind up getting a lot more offers and sell more deals than you thought. Even if the numbers are like, I wouldn't buy that deal, right? But somebody else will. And we've sold deals where we're like, there's no way. And we've made big money on deals where we thought it was too tight, but Helena's like, yeah, we're just going to sell it anyway. We're working it. We might as well believe in it and let's just sell it.
So how much is it like so I know what you said about passively selling it, right? And so you're not just sending it out and just like, sitting there waiting on twiddling your thumbs for somebody to respond back to you. You guys are actively like reaching out and saying, hey, this is the deal. Let's talk about this deal and move forward on it, right? That's kind of your process?
Yeah, and cold calling buyers, right? Like, so we'll send out the deal, inquiries that come in, you call them out right away, and then you have a list. So we'll pull a list of buyers in the area. Our VA would do that, and then you just cold call one by one down the list. So like you're constantly working the deal. And then when somebody comes in, and they either pass or they offer lower or whatever, you don't just take it at face value. You actively negotiate with them to try to bring them up. try to see what they're seeing, why they're passing on it, what are they looking, what do they like about the deal, right? What do they not like? And then try to sell them on the points that they do like about it and see what their best number they could get from that is.
Yeah, I mean, it's a sales game in general. Like you said, a lot of people say like if you have a deal, you don't have to do that. It's just going to get sell itself. But the truth is, you guys get a lot of deals done that other people can't because you have that ability and that process within it. What I see a lot of other dispo wholesalers do, or people who claim to be dispo wholesalers, they're like, I have a buyer and he's buying everything. So send me your deal. I'm like, you have one buyer,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. And that buyer probably buying, I had a buyer that was buying 5 deals a week, but he was, and all cash close, he could close in a day, but like he was never my highest number.
Right, right.
So I'm shooting myself in the foot trying to tailor to one buyer.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And that's just something that I think that, if you want to be a good dispo wholesaler, you can't just do that. You have to have not only great relationships, you have to have a shit ton of buyers and people that you can reach out to and have a whole process in place. You can't just rely on one person because what do you do when that person just can't buy no more? We had a really good buyer here in my area and they would buy up everything. And then all of a sudden their numbers got tight because a lot of deals were sitting and a lot of things they're struggling with. And now they're always one of the lowest offers we have. And so it's just the way you have to change things up. But we were okay because we had plenty of buyers that we can just move it to instead.
That's it.
So
You can't work for one person. Right? You have to play the field in Dispo.
yeah, might as well get a job at that point.
If you work for one person now, you're bird dog.
Yeah, we're done.
You've
Exactly.
You might as well
downgraded.
just work you might as well just work for that company at that point.
Yep.
Yeah, just have them hire you. So you guys are now jumping into PPC, which I think is cool. Which I think is a good segue because what you guys did was you didn't jump into PPC right away. I think a lot of people had those problems. I was telling them on the last call we're at that this guy reached out to me because he saw me on Jamil's podcast with To the Moon. And he reached out to my number and he's like, I need help. And I talked to him and he was like, all right, well, I have a friend that's successful and this is what he told me to do. I need to buy the $1,000 CRM. I need to get a VA with $1,400 a month. I need to also invest $5,000 a month into PPC. And I'm like, have you closed a deal yet? He's like, no, we haven't done any deals yet. I just heard about this. I'm like, why are you doing all these steps? And a lot of people like join into, and they see it because they're like, all right, PPC leads or inbound leads are great because they want to talk to you and they're ready to sell. And you're not just doing a bunch of cold calling all day long, which everyone hates to do. So jump into PPC and they do that and they struggle. But you guys build a proven model where you have money coming in consistently and that you now have capital to put towards PPC. So what made you guys now decide to do that instead of maybe outbound calls or whatever else other strategy you can do?
I mean, one, any of the free models are great, but it also is anybody could do the free models. So the barrier entry is low, and it's also just more volume. That's basically what the free models. You have to do a lot of volume for free. Then when you start paying and you start pay to play, it's less people in the playing field, right? So now maybe one out of like 15 people are speaking to the same lead instead of 1 out of 1,000. And it's just you're paying for quicker results at this point. Like for cold calling, maybe it takes you 4 to 6 months to get the first deal, and then you're constantly building up that pipeline. But you need a volume of dials and calls and follow-ups. And one deal you get that turns into like a hot lead, you might take you 3 months, 4 months, 5 months down the road to get on the contract. PPC, basically, like we just got our first contract within the first week of doing PPC. And now that's not completely normal, but with PPC, it's a very scalable, predictable model. And so with that, and you're getting more motivated because they're actively reaching out to you. They're filling out a form. If you're doing PPC, they're filling out a Google form because they need to sell their house. And then they're spending like an hour on the phone. Like the lady before, I was on the phone with her for like 50 minutes. And we're just talking, shooting the shit, talking about the property and all that stuff. Now, not every single one is gonna be highly motivated, but like you're gonna get a lot more motivation and a lot better deals from the PPC and quicker than you will from cold calling. Cold calling still works. You can still get good deals if you're willing to put in the time and the volume. There's no point. I don't plan on building a call center or having a cold calling team. It's also a much leaner operation for PPC because all I need is just a closer.
Right.
And
Did you ever do that?
eventually when you get too many leads, you could bring on a leads manager, but for the most part, you just need a closer, depending on your ad spend.
Did you ever start to do a bunch of cold calling, outbound cold calling?
I did that before I had consistency. I tried doing the cold calls, but I hated it. I mean, cold calling sucks.
Yeah.
Like, cold calling
Yes.
sellers, cold calling agents is okay. You'll have a high response rate. Cold calling sellers just sucks.
Yeah.
Like anytime I see a VA applying for a cold call position, I'm like, holy shit, God bless you. I don't know how you do this day in and day out. I know they do it because they have to, but no.
Now with AI coming along though, are you guys implementing that into your business right now? And how are you guys doing that? I know you do a lot for processes, right? For your processes and keeping track of that, but any of outreach or anything that's taken care of by AI in your business?
Definitely not with sellers, and right now, not with agents. The reason why is just one, it's a new craze. Everybody's doing it. You know how many times agents are getting blasted by texts and emails. And when we're on the phone with them, they're like, you know how many of these text messages I get or how many emails I don't even look at these emailed offers anymore. I just ignore them completely. So
Yeah.
that's why we give verbals.
Right.
And there's a human element to it, right? Like I could still tell right now AIs will get to a place where it will be at a point, probably definitely better than 90% of the salespeople out there. Right now, it's not. And I could tell I have a good idea. I can't tell the difference between AI videos sometimes, right? But I could, or AI like YouTube, right? When you're just listening with no background. But as far as like AI on the phone and sales, I have a very good idea when it's AI and when it's not. So if I could tell and an agent's getting all these calls, they could definitely tell. But I just think right now at the point, I think a good salesperson is better than a mediocre AI on the phones.
Yeah, I think AI is getting to the point where it can replace all of the cold callers in general, or the ones that take the inbound leads, or at least handle the text messages for you. I think those VA roles are pretty much gone, or are going to be gone in the next year. We obviously run the VA business of what we have, but we've told all our people like, hey, if you're applying for jobs in cold caller and just doing that, or just doing like the CRM manager, like you're not going to have a job
Mm-mm.
anywhere. Like not with us, just anywhere.
Yeah,
It's gone in the next year.
100%.
We've been testing it out, and I noticed, yeah, we're not ready for agents yet, because agents, you have to continue to have that conversation and build that relationship. It's not something you can necessarily do just one time and reach out to. Older sellers right now, they can't tell. They have a hard time on the ones that we have. Newer sellers probably can, but you have to do it the right way.
You don't want to do it for PPC. Outbound, it'll work. It could be a lead setup, right? But as far as like a closer, I would not use AI for a closer.
No,
No, not for a closer, no.
And text messages is fine, like follow-up text, it could if it could, like, automate and change up the follow-up text so it doesn't sound like everybody else, that's totally fine, but as far as negotiations and deals and all that stuff and discovery, because it's not gonna dig deeper into the motivation,
right,
right? It'll surface level, but it's not
right.
gonna dig deep, and that's where you separate your offer from others when you could really solve the problem. As far as negotiations and closers, definitely not.
No, no, that's not there yet. That's what we tell the VAs are coming in. Like, hey, if you're not coming in for a closer role, we probably won't be able to hire you. There's just no way. Like, that's what we need to do now. Is that something you guys are thinking about, or kind of testing as it goes, and see when it eventually gets there? You will. I mean, is that something you kind of looked at?
Not right now, not as far as for the conversation aspect, more so with just all on the system side of things. You know, AI for maybe underwriting, AI with like market analysis and things like that, just giving us more real-time feedback. AI with like connecting all of the apps and stuff so it's less manual admin tasks from our salespeople. But as far as like conversations, nothing when it comes to sales yet.
And you run a community right now too, right? You have a Facebook group that you still run. Is that still going on?
Yeah, it's more so of just like I get bombarded with questions, and the questions are always loaded. It's like, "Hey, John, how do I get started in real estate?" Like, I'm not going to answer that as a DM.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not going to spend 2-3 minutes sending a voice message. I'm like, "Hey, just Tuesday, 3 p.m. EST, I go live in wholesale group. Just join the group. It's free, and I'll answer any questions you have." If they show up, beautiful. If they don't, they ask me the question again. I said, "Well, next week I'm doing the same thing, so feel free to show up."
Smart. Yeah, because they'll take you can't do one-on-one for
Hold
everyone.
them accountable.
Bro, it's insane. Hold on. It's like it'll be a slow day, and then when I have something, my phone is nonstop.
Right. Right. Yeah, I'm
It's
sitting there
insane.
looking at the notifications keep popping up at how many calls I'm getting right now. Entire thing is like, you didn't call me all day long, and now you want to call me.
Like, do you know? Did you look at my calendar? Do you know I was busy and that's what you waited for?
Yeah, that's how it goes. So when you're working with agents now, because I know you guys are doing that, and you're doing it with different markets. I actually want to go back a little bit
Agents
because
is one
you
market.
decided. Well, okay, agent one market, but you
Agent
guys
is just
decided to
Florida.
expand into a bunch of markets recently, right? Because you guys were strictly in Florida at one point and just crushing things in Florida. What made that decision to move into a bunch of different ones?
So Florida is still only agent outreach
Yeah.
and obviously JVs. But
Yep.
since we're doing PPC also, we don't really know the markets that well. And one of the best ways to learn the market is to get a bunch of deals, do some underwriting, and try to sell the deal. And we also build up a buyer's list that way. So we're like, all right, screw it. Like we could be selective on what deals we're going to send out, but we could easily underwrite deals. And I could just quickly look at a deal and know, is it even worth looking into or not? So I'm not going to bombard my underwriting department, but we just figured, I was like, let me just look at like out of all the 15 markets I'm in, and this is what I use AI for, ChatGPT, right? I was just like, hey, these are the markets I'm going PPC. You know, find the ones that on average have the highest spread for wholesale assignments and are some of the most wholesale friendly states, right? So I don't have to worry about laws or anything like that. Like, so it gave me the top 5. And then I was like, besides Florida, because I'm already in it. And then it spit out those 5. And I was like, all right, those are the 5. And those are kind of the 5 I was thinking, which was like California, Ohio, Nevada, Colorado, Texas, and also obviously Florida.
I'm interested to know how that's how you pick the markets in there. We're probably going to expand into another one. We're in North Carolina, and we just expanded to Jacksonville. We have Virginia and the two markets in Virginia that we're at, and we're looking at expanding to a new one. I don't like going north. I don't know, just a different type of attitude in general. That I'm from the South, I guess technically, so I like to deal with Southern people.
Yeah.
So we kind of going back and forth about what market we should get in. And I was wondering like how you did your market research. I know one of the ways you do it, obviously, these people do is they take buyers and what they bought and they take based off what they bought it at and what they resold it at, what the ARV is, and kind of understanding what the percentage is. You guys do a bunch of that before you jumped into them, or you just ran with what ChatGPT said?
No, I just expedite data. I just see who's the top dispo wholesaler in that market, and I just talk to them.
There you go. I think that's great.
They have all the shit. Like if you're like, hey, I'm getting into Florida, I'd be like, all right, you could either spend hours and hours and hours just going through, or you just ask me questions about the market. I'll just tell you.
Yeah, because they want to work
So
with you anyways too, right? So that makes sense.
exactly. And I'm like, listen, we're gonna go in this market. I need your help with this. Like, what do you think about this area? Even when I have deals, like the Texas deal that I was just talking to the lady on, a underwriting department had a lower number. They were like, offer 115. I was like, I don't know. That seems super low. Like looking at the area, it's an HOA community. It's an early 2000 build. I was like, I don't think it's gonna be that expensive. So I called Anthony Cedeno and I was like, yo, do you know, Humble, Texas? And he goes, yeah, I know it really well. I was like, can you look at this deal for me? I think they're a little low. I don't think it's gonna be that much. We're seeing ARV was spot on. He's like, yeah, it's probably only be like 40K rehab. So you could offer like 160 to 180 max. And I was like, so a buyer's gonna probably buy this at like 200, right? So that's how I learned the market more. I'm like, okay, that's what I thought. And so from there, I went from a 110 offer, which you heard her. She said no to. She laughed at 160 to 170. If I would have told her 110, she would have told me to go fuck myself.
Yeah.
So it just learning from that and asking questions. He was telling me like, you got to ask about foundation in this area. A lot of these houses slope. You see like the driveway. So I learned more from that call than I do from analyzing data.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Agreed. That's
Yeah,
how I did
definitely.
in Florida too. When I first got into Florida, that's the same thing. They were like, "Oh, they're not too crazy about 1-story versus 2-story like they are in Nevada. That's like way a big thing." But shoot, like can't do block versus wood. Like these were all the things that I learned that I had no idea because I came from Vegas. My first market was Vegas, and I was like, they don't give a fuck about block versus wood in
Yep.
Vegas. In Florida, they were like, no, block versus wood,
Big
huge
thing.
deal.
Big
Yeah,
thing.
and I was like, okay. That didn't know that. So that was like, that's how I learned all that too, is from a dispo wholesaler who was doing it big out in Florida when I first got in.
That's why I always recommend, like, when you first start off, like, focus on acquisitions because it's a skill you're going to need. If you're going to scale a company, you got to have acquisitions and leverage this for wholesalers for market analysis, buy prices, things like that. You'll learn more from that, from live examples than just looking at the data's historical. It's not telling you where the market's at now.
Right. Yeah, I think that because I've never done the market research like that at all. I've never spent the time to do that. I'm not the person that would take the time to do that in the first place. I just reach out and
Yeah.
call people. When we moved to Jacksonville, I did the same thing. I called Carlos Bolton and talked to him, and I was like, "Hey, just tell me how you run your numbers." He gave me all a rundown of that. North Carolina was tough. I talked to a few people in there, but North Carolina is weird because we wanted to focus in Raleigh and Durham, but you don't get properties in Raleigh and Durham. You get them across the entire state of North Carolina.
Yeah.
And so it's like building a new buyer's list every single time. So I tell people when they reach out to me too, like, what market should I do and what should I run my numbers at? I'm like, you need to speak to somebody else. I'll connect people with people in the Astor community. If anybody's in Florida, John, you're the first person I tell them, hey, reach out to John. The same thing with any other market. I'm like, hey, I'll connect you with a good dispo wholesaler. Just ask questions. If you're not going to find buyers, because the way I learned in my market is I talked to a bunch of buyers, and I just asked them over and over again, like, how you run your numbers. And every time I send a deal out to them, I would ask them, all right, why do you want to pass on this? What are you seeing? And I just kept asking questions enough to understand exactly what they're looking for. That's how I found out there's a difference between shallow water access and deep water access. I had no idea. Different things like that. And so I tell people that are newer, like, find somebody who is already doing really well and just start asking questions. Don't bombard them with like, hey, what do you think about this property? What do you think about this one?
Yep.
Like when you haven't done any work
That's
on
the
it, that's
worst.
annoying.
You know how many times
But
that
I think
happens?
oh yes, yeah, absolutely. And I was helping some lady out, and she was telling me that she was going to do that with her buyers, and she was going to keep sending them properties and say, "What would you buy?" I was like, "You are going to ruin these relationships. They're going to get so tired of reaching out to you. Do the work. Just ask them a couple questions if you need to, but then do the work yourself and take the shots, and then get the feedback, and then keep learning from that."
Cancel the deals. I'd rather cancel the deals than do stuff like that.
Yeah, because you'll ruin those relationships quickly. People don't want to answer your calls anymore. You'll get in John's spam list right away.
Yep. I won't even see your emails anymore.
So what's next for the business then? How are you guys expanding to grow? I know it's PPC, and how you're right now is what you're testing out. Is there other ways you guys are looking to grow as well?
No, right now, just agents in Florida, JVs will be selective on in certain markets, and then the PPC and PPC as it starts, paying for itself, then just slowly just adjust ad spend more and more, and then just start delegating out the PPC side of things. And ideally, I would say predominantly it'll just be DTA we'll probably break off into different markets. Like we'll probably do DTA in the markets we want to buy in. Like right now, we're doing new construction in Florida, which we started already in Florida, so it didn't come after. So we have like 5 new construction projects in the Tampa Bay area, and we're gonna want to get into like Fort Lauderdale too and all that. So next is build up the PPC side to where it's just a cash cow, so we can start delegating and get it more predictable. And then when we break into another market, maybe 2 or 3 markets for direct to agent, JVs will start off in there just to learn the market, and then slowly drip those off as PPC and DTA replace it in the market, and just start developing, get into single family home, a luxury, and eventually maybe some apartments and storage units, things like that, industrial, and start building up like co-living portfolio and sometimes build to rent. So one of the 5 construction projects is a build to rent. So we're going to keep that as a rental for a little bit and start just building up the rental portfolio so we don't pay taxes because I pay the IRS too much this year.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't like that.
No, definitely don't like that.
Yeah. I'm interested to know about your development projects though, because we've taken on a couple of projects too. And do you ever have that feeling like, hey, I could have just wholesaled this and made more money on that? Or do you guys specifically pick out the ones that are obviously the really, really good deals for you guys?
Yeah, some of them were like, actually, the ones that we took down, one we actually got from somebody. We weren't going to wholesale it. A developer gave us an opportunity, so we put a lot of cash into that, bought the land cash, and then the other one we got from a probate attorney. We probably could have made like a $15,000 assignment fee, but this is the one we're going to keep as a rental, up and coming area. So we're like, hey, let's just build it, rent it out, get some depreciation, get more experience, and then it's a new up and coming area. So within 5 years, we'll sell it. We bought the land at like $70,000, which is almost unheard of. So we're like, screw it, it's just too good of a deal. Another one was on market. It could have been like a $70K assignment fee. However, the only way that buyer, and he was the only buyer we had, the only way that buyer was willing to close was as if we partnered. So what we did is we just restructured it where it's like our assignment fee just goes towards the purchase of the property, and then we get that paid on the back end. And so we're doing that one, which is a longer project. Should be like a $2.7 million sale once it's done. And the other 2 we bought directly from another wholesaler. Yeah, none of those we were like, let's just assign and make more money. But we do think that, like, what's the risk involved? How much potential profit? Is it easier to just wholesale it? Do we want to get the experience and the exposure? And that's how we think through it if we're going to decide to keep it ourselves or not.
Yeah, Eva, you have a couple properties, don't you?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. And did you do this? Were you wholesaling before you bought these, or was it kind of in before you wholesaled?
No, they were all from wholesaling. So I just got them. It's going on 3 years now. So yeah, they're all about 3 years old that I've had them. 3 of them are in Jackson, Mississippi. And then I have my personal here in Florida. Those Jackson ones are Section 8 properties. And then I'm a partner in a big portfolio. Like I bought in to be a partner. Eventually they'll sell the portfolio and then I'll no longer have those. But that's kind of what I've done so far. But I was 2.5 years in before I even started investing in properties. So it came after wholesaling for sure. Like I graduated into that.
I think that's the way to do it. I mean, you got to build up your capital first. You have to learn how to make active income before you even worry about passive income.
Yeah, when you have deal flow coming in, you can be picky. And now you can just pick the ones that make sense for you and which ones don't. And you just move them on. If you're just the buyer, you got to look at everything and either you're buying it or you're not going to make any money off it. For us, we're like, hey, we'll make money off it one way or another. Which way we're going to do it?
I think mine was more experimental. So like I wanted to buy into the big portfolio and be part of that thing because I thought, oh, how cool. Bought into that. I'm kind of like, oh, it's all right. Section 8, I'm a Section 8 baby. So I was like, oh, I want to reverse it. Now I'm a Section 8 holder. And then, of course, Tom off social media, everybody was like watching his Section 8. So I was like, let's just see what this is about. That's how I got those 3. I haven't yet expanded that. It's like I just kind of experimented to see like, what do I want to get into? I do now am at the point where I'm kind of dabbling with the idea of new builds. Like I think maybe I'll continue on with the Section 8, but do like a multifamily new build in Jackson, Mississippi. So it's kind of been more experimental.
New build co-living too.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been watching that too. So I'm like, where do I kind of want to expand is where I'm looking at now. But all of it's been experimental, not so much, I don't think as strategic as you and Helena are probably doing.
If you know Helena, you know anything she does is strategic.
Yeah,
there's
very strategic.
Me, I'm kind of like, yeah, it feels good. Let's do it. Let's try it.
Yeah.
Her like, no,
Yeah.
because this is the steps that we're doing 5 years from now. I'm like, all right, cool.
It's good to have a partner like that. Somebody who thinks a different way than we do. Yeah.
Yeah, because we
Absolutely.
challenge each other's. Like, I'll be like, all right, Helena, let's not do it that way. Let's think about it this from more of like forget about the money aspect, right? Let's think about it a little bit more from this level. And so the way we work with the ideas, it's great because she'll call me out, I'll call her out, but we both know the same intention for the good of the company.
Yeah. I think it's really cool though that you sought a partner for the other side of things instead of trying to do everything yourself.
Yeah, I didn't want to have a partner in the beginning.
Right. I don't think
It just
anybody
kind of
does.
happened. Yeah.
Yeah, it just it's like oh, obviously I want 100% of everything I make, but then you're like I have 100% of nothing. It's a lot better to give away 50% of a bunch of stuff than
Something.
100%,
Yeah.
keep
Yeah.
100% of nothing. So I think it's really cool because a lot of people that go into it. When I first got into it, I didn't know there's a difference between a whole Axis and a Dispo. So I just did both because I thought that was just the way you had to do it. I just found my buyers through Facebook, which was awful, which I never recommend anybody do because you get a bunch of crap
Yeah.
through that. But then yeah, I built my buyers list, and then I found out through when I joined Jamil's program that there's actually a difference between the two sides of it. I had no idea. But at that point, I was already doing both, so I was like, all right, well, I'll just keep it going as I grow in it. And my wife was handling all the contracts because I hate contracts. I don't like reading contracts. My wife gets very mad at me because a lot of times I'll sign stuff without even thinking about it.
Stuff that you shouldn't
Bro,
sign for.
Yeah,
I just made a post about don't make these 10 mistakes, and one of them was people don't read the contracts before signing them.
right. And so that's
Mhm.
why she reads all of them, and she like lets me know if I'm good or not. I was like, can I sign it? And yes or no? And she's like, yes or no. That's how it goes. Well, yeah, you find people that kind of find their weaknesses in that. I think that's really important.
Yep.
So before we roll out here, because we're coming up on this hour, any questions you have, Eva? You good?
No, I think I've asked so far what I wanted to know, and you've kind of asked what I was curious on as well. I do have a lot of questions building up now for Helena. So, like, I'm excited to ask her to come on because I'm like, all right, now that we've talked to John.
Yeah, anything Dispo, like, that's Elena. The system and all that stuff, the way she built it out, that's all her. I don't do anything with buyers. I've talked to buyers here and there, but as far as, like, when it comes to selling deals, I think I've sold maybe 1 deal for the company. Other than that, I just bring in the deals
Right.
and
Love
help
that.
help the act team bring in the deals.
It's amazing that you guys formed such an amazing partnership because that's not very common.
Yeah. I mean, again, like I said, if you know Helena, like, she's not gonna just form a partnership for no reason. So, like, she realized that, I realized that, and I had a different partner, and, like, it's a thing too, like, I had a different partner, it didn't work out. Was it a horrible experience? No. Was it the best experience? I mean, it was an experience, but I also learned a lot from there, and some people be like, "Well, if it didn't work out with the one, why am I gonna try to form another partnership and all this stuff, blah, blah, blah." But we both were the way that we did it, which we did it correctly, her and I, was for like 6 months we were working together. We were JVing, we were seeing how each other worked. Like, I was always responsive on the weekend, she was always responsive on the weekend, and constantly, working off deals and bouncing ideas off each other. And so then when we brought it to each other, we were like, yeah, it actually kind of makes sense. Who would focus on what? We had all of that stuff kind of outlined ahead of time. We set the expectations for each other, and we both were in agreement. And so we didn't have anything where it was like, all right, well, shit, like, you said you were gonna do that. Like, no, you said you were gonna do that. Like, we both know what we handle. And I know too, like, I'll take on more things that I don't like. Like, let's just say I was a CPA, so I'm taking on the bookkeeping and all that stuff, but delegated that and reviewing that. But if it's more like I have to be more detailed and more focus on some of the ops a little bit, so she could focus on the development properties. Like, we have that mutual understanding. Like, hey, you're better at that than I am. I'll handle something I don't like doing, so it could be better for the business because you're better at that than me.
Right. You guys dated for about 6 months and then got married after that. Right?
Exactly.
That's what
Yeah.
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. But that's awesome. And I think that one of the biggest things too is when you guys did partner up, you both executed on your side of it.
That's
Yeah.
it. We would have known before the 6 months if we don't execute on what we
Wasn't
say, because
working out,
we've already had
yeah.
multiple instances where we did execute already.
Absolutely. Cool. So also speaking of getting married, you're getting married here soon, aren't you?
Yeah, in June of 2026.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Appreciate
Congrats.
it.
You guys were
Yeah.
already.
I keep forgetting, but yeah, I haven't done shit for the wedding. So I'm like, listen, if you need a decision, if you're between 2 options, let me know. I'll decide, and then you'll really see what you want, because if you agree with me, perfect. If you don't, you'll know you want the other one. So
Right.
I'll help you with that.
Yeah.
Other than that, though, I was like, you go ahead, whatever kind of wedding you want.
Do what
I'll
you got to
show
do.
up.
Yep. All right. Awesome. Well, cool. How do people get a hold of you?
So Instagram, it's my full name, John Galan, REI, and shoot me DMs, whatever. Facebook, my full name. And then if you're in Florida, Texas, California, Colorado, Ohio, Nevada, and you want to send us a deal to look at, send it to deals, DEALS, at EasyRes.com.
We'll link everything on there. Thank you so much for your time, John Glenn. I know how busy you are. Let us know after this call if we need to keep that sales call in there or not.
Yeah, definitely will. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks for being here. Bye.
Take care.